have seen an uptick of aggression and hate towards one type of man over the last couple of weeks that only Abby and Kristen can explain. And it's the hate that is being directed at men that are joining women for yoga and Pilates. What is going on and why the hate?
This has been all over my For You page because there's been a couple of articles that are coming out where people have done like think pieces on why men shouldn't do Pilates. And as a Pilates popper myself, I will say anytime that a man walks in, I'm just like, why would a man be here? Why are you here? But then I kind of think...
You feel like that when you go anywhere?
I know, I'm walking into the Bert show. I'm like, why is a man here? Bert, the man in a studio. And, you know, when they walk in, it kind of does change the vibe a little bit because Pilates is like a very feminine environment. It's a very cute studio. Everyone's in their little socks. We're all going to do our mermaid crunches. We're in our little tiny fits. And so when a man walks in, it shifts the vibe a little bit. They're usually being dragged by their girlfriend. But
this toxic femininity is appalling.
Okay, I would like to come to the defense of men, though, because I will say there is nothing that motivates me more in the middle of a painful carriage kick than when I look over to my right and I see Jason quivering and shaking in his little crew socks. It's so funny.
I need you guys to paint a picture because I've actually never been in a Pilates studio before. I know what it is in theory. I've seen it online. It's mostly like bands and stuff like that, but it looks very, very exhausting, right?
I don't know. I've never done Pilates.
So I technically do something called Legree, which I say Pilates because it's basically Pilates, but it's harder and it's different. So when you go into the studio that I go into, shout out Stellar Bodies on Roswell Road, there's a bunch of like medieval torture machines that look like these... I'm trying to figure out they're like a contraption. It's like a long bed-like thing and it has a carriage that moves. And the point of the whole reformer is it's all resistance training. Right. So you move the carriage and it's resistant, or you have bands and it's resistant. So it's all meant to strengthen you through resistance training.
I think it's using a lot of what a lot of gym people call time under tension. The more time that you can keep your muscles under tension, the better the workout. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily about the amount of weight. It's just keeping your muscles always under tension, right? Do I have that right?
You have that right.
Okay.
All right. So I've been doing hot yoga on and off for over a decade. I have never once thought twice about a dude being in the class. The yoga studio I go to now, there's always at least 3 or 4 guys in the class, and it doesn't change the vibe of anything. Like, I don't understand this at all, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I saw one woman complaining that guys are in there grunting during the yoga classes because they can't quite get in to the position, so they're making these noises that are taking them out of their meditative state.
And maybe that is for her class, but I will tell you, like right now, I go 2 to 3 times a week regularly. This is a non-issue at our studio, Yonder Yoga.
I definitely think it's a difference between yoga and Pilates because it's like a specific type of man that is good at yoga and chooses to go to yoga, where typically a lot of the guys that come into Pilates are usually being dragged by their girlfriends, or they're there with the intention of picking up chicks, so it shifts the vibe a little bit, which I kind of get. Into their point, the people who don't really like seeing a lot of men in Pilates classes, that was a huge benefit. Like, I loved showing up to the classes and not feeling self-conscious about what I was wearing, because I'm like, I'm just surrounded by girls, so if I hang out a little bit, it's fine. You feel like you can wear a cute little fit. You're not worried about, Sean from accounting ogling you. So there's a little bit of that as well.
Okay, that
I feel bad for the dude, seriously.
Yeah, it's not easy being a guy.
Yeah.
It's about time we start having this conversation.
Finally,
man.
They can't go to a yoga class, man.
Can't do nothing.
Finally, we've broken through this low ceiling.
Listen, I'm going to look your way when you walk in, but the moment I see you quivering and shaking, just know I'm making fun of you in my head.
Is it mostly guys that are in there, like big buff guys that are just trying something new, or is it who's showing up?
There's a funny dichotomy I have in my head. I'm like, is this a gay guy? Is this a man being dragged by his girlfriend? Or is this a dude here to pick up chicks? Because it's one of the 3.
So it can't be just a guy that wants to try something different in his routine?
No, man. It's intimidating. Like, you're walking into a room of 25 fit women training for war. Like, they're really intimidating girls. So I do think for a guy to show up by himself, it is... I do wonder, what is the type of guy to do that?
That must be it. Must be totally different for Pilates then, because that is not
what you're getting.
No, not at all. Because these dudes come in and they're regulars. Like they do this on the regular. Like you can tell they're legit yogis.
I've told you guys every time I've ever gone to a yoga class, the instructor has said to me on the way out, maybe you should just take a basic stretching class first. I'm so tight.
So you're the one they're talking about.
Probably making the noise, or my pose doesn't look anything like everybody else's pose.
The Bert Show.